What's going on, guys? Welcome to the live stream tonight. Tonight, I just kind of want to piggyback off my last week's live stream. So basically, I'm a Army reservist. I am an E5 sergeant. I've been in the Army now for 9 years. I originally joined when I was 18 years old. Didn't make it through the first time. Then I joined again when I was 31 years old, and I have now been in the Army for 9 years. Um, I'm a paralegal specialist and I am a reservist. So I have a civilian job and I'm also in the Army part time. So uh, tonight's tonight's live stream is basically just being able to answer any questions that any of you might have. So um, I see there's nobody in the chat or nobody in the stream right now. But as soon as somebody joins in, I will definitely um, answer any questions that you may have. So I guess I'll just start out my journey again. So I originally joined when I was 18 years old. Didn't really know what I was doing with my life. This is right around 2004. Hey, welcome to the stream. Interactive. I want to be able for you to be able to ask questions. Okay. So originally I joined when I was 18 years old. Um, Again, I didn't really know what I was doing with my life. I joined the Army because most of my friends joined, and I felt an obligation to serve my country. So I enlisted in April of 2004. I shipped off to basic training in September 2004. Made all the way through, and then I was dumb and let a girl get the best of me, and then um, I left home, or I got discharged, and I came home, and I pretty much immediately regretted it. But then I tried to build a life without the military. I worked odds and ends jobs, and I went to college, got my degree, and still had the inkling to be able to serve still, and didn't really feel like I was doing much with my life in my civilian side. So I went and talked to the Army. Hello, thanks for joining. So I wanted to talk to an Army recruiter, and I always had the urge to continue my service that I started earlier in life. And I wanted to do something that was making a difference in the world, and something I could be proud of. So I went down and talked to the recruiter. I had a couple waivers I had to get before I could join. One was a moral waiver, one was a waiver to prove that I was medically sound to serve, and I had to get one from an orthopedic surgeon that said I was okay for my hand. So I'm here tonight to be able to answer any questions you guys might have. I joined when I was 18 years old. I also joined again when I was 31, and I had to go through the waiver process. And this video is basically just to be able to help anybody that is thinking about joining. I actually didn't serve in Afghanistan and Iraq. That was part of the reason why I felt the urge to come back, because when I left in '04, I kind of had survivor's guilt because a lot of people that I went through probably went to Iraq and probably passed away. So I had that on my conscience that I didn't do it. What's a moral waiver? So basically, because I lied about having asthma the first time I got out, when they come back, they want to make sure that you're of sane mind. So what they do is they have you go to a psychologist or psychiatrist, and they do a mental evaluation on you and basically just see what your state of mind is. And then after you talk to them, they interview you, they ask you a bunch of questions. They determine if you're morally up to it to be able to serve again. So they asked me a bunch of questions, and I guess I answered them correctly, and I got approved for that waiver, and that was why I was able to re-enlist. But I have not served overseas. I have served during both those conflicts. I just never got deployed. So, um, what other questions do you guys have? Are any of you that are watching, are any of you thinking about enlisting right now? Why did you leave the first time? So the first time was because I was stupid. I was an 18-year-old kid. I had a girlfriend prior to leaving, and I lost my virginity before I left. And as soon as I left, she cheated on me, and I got a Dear John letter, and I got super depressed. And I told myself that if I finished, and then that I'd be going to Iraq. So I made up an excuse. My last company run before graduation, I faked having an asthma attack, and I went to sick call. Doctor signed off, said you can't be in the army if you have asthma. Signed my discharge papers, and then I left. But pretty much as soon as I got back, I mean, those relationships never work out, and honestly, it ended pretty quickly. But my years to serve was still there, and at that time, I needed a 2 year window before the Army would even consider taking me back. So I did try other services. I did try the Marine Corps. I did try the Navy. I tried the Air Force. Basically, whatever branch that would take me, I tried. Unfortunately, during this time frame, they wouldn't take waivers. So every time I'd go to the recruiting station, I would fill out a application. They would send it up to MEPS, which is the Military Entrance Processing Station, and they would submit that I wanted to get waivers, and the doctor would sign off and say, "Nope, we're not giving him a waiver." Um, Asthma. There's a pack a day smokers in the army still. Yeah, but they weren't pack a day smokers when they joined. So, um, I mean, I guess if they were on a run or something and they fell out, I guess they would probably. But they spend all that money to train you. So at that point, their goal is to keep you. But when it comes to like entry level, like I guess if they cut you loose in the beginning, there's less of an investment that they have in you. So um, they don't want to keep you. So yeah, but yeah, it was a big mistake I made, and I felt the consequences from it. And honestly, I had like survivor's guilt, and I kind of felt like I let everybody down. I felt like I let myself down. It's hard to go through basic training, go through all that, then come back and you have nothing to say for it, and you can't even claim that you did it because if you don't graduate, then you're not considered a soldier. You're not considered a veteran. Basically, nothing you do, like you did all that for nothing. So, um, kind of like I said, I kept hoping that one day I could serve again. I think with AI, it can replace the warfighter jobs as well as the administration jobs as well. No need for a million active duty and 2 million reserves. Um, well, I mean, AI doesn't have the human element to it. So, I mean, the one thing that we as U.S. service members have is that we have the most elite training in the whole world. Um, other countries have more service members, but we're more well trained. We know what we're doing. So, um, I mean, you're always going to need people to fight. You're always going to need people. And like, honestly, like, the one cool thing about the current military is that it is 100% volunteer based. So everybody that wants to serve is serving. Um, One of the interesting things is that like once you get the basic training, you kind of see the people that join for the wrong reasons because as soon as they get there, they like immediately fall apart emotionally. That's what penalty fear is. Automate all these. Just have hexas make all the decisions. Uh, well, I don't think that's a very good idea, and it seems like you're more here to be a troll than you are to ask questions about service. You can't ever replace a warfighter or a man's heart with computers. So um, that's my thought on that. So if there's anybody in the chat that or anybody in the stream that has questions about joining, um, whether it be at 18 years old, whether it be in your late 20s, your 30s, what it's like actually being in the military. I'm a reservist, so I have a civilian job, and then I serve 2 days a month and 2 weeks during the year. But there are other things you can do, like going to schools and do additional trainings. So If you're watching right now and you're thinking about joining, feel free to ask any questions. I will answer them to the best of my abilities. I'm not a recruiter. I don't know all the regulations per se. So, but if you have questions about any, I'm a paralegal. So I work for attorneys. It's my job to look up regulations, to look up the rules of engagement, uh, process paperwork for disciplinary action. So honestly, the reason why I chose that job is I chose a job that I could, I had no job satisfaction with what I was doing before. I graduated college and I was a restaurant manager. I was doing that. I was making decent money, but again, I didn't feel like what I was doing was actually making a difference. Um, has disciplinary action increased under the new leadership? Uh, yeah, there's always been issues with like discipline. Like, uh, a lot of times you have younger soldiers and they get places and they get a little bit of money for the first time and they do stupid stuff like drink and drive and do stuff. I would say the one good thing about the military is they are pretty good at disciplining and making sure that if you're not fit to serve, that you're not able to serve anymore. So um, I would say that's one good thing about our military is that we do have high standards for those who serve. So that's like one thing I want to kind of pitch to anybody that is watching. Um, that if you're thinking about like if you're currently in a role or if you have a family or if you have a job that you like you and enjoy but you still have the urge to serve, the reserves is a great opportunity for you. Um, and if you are a person that has really nothing going on in your life, maybe think about doing active duty because it'll give you a whole new sense of structure. It will give you job security. It will kind of give you that purpose that you need. Because honestly, like if you have nothing going on with for you right now and you go away and you join the military and you're a reservist and once you're done with training they ship you back home and you're doing the exact same thing you were doing before, just the only difference is now you're doing um, the two days a month and 2 weeks in a year, then you're not really getting the most out of it. So um, for those of you who are thinking about joining, let's see. I mean, the army goes through ebbs and flows. It's not really tied to a specific administration. Unfortunately, too many people think that whatever the military is based on the current political. We're an apolitical organization. The army changes its, or the military changes its recruiting standards based on the needs of the military. So if they need more people, they go through the list and they see what they're willing to allow in and what they're not willing to allow. And it has nothing to do with who's in the administration. I mean, now there's a bigger push on physical fitness, so that's changed a little bit. So, but the recruiting standards usually have to deal with needing to. Um, does the SecDef have a lot of influence, which is inherently a political position? Yeah, but the military is a political organization. You have your Secretary of Defense, but you also have your leadership. So there is a little bit of a difference. But I'm not having this conversation is not meant to be political. I'm not here to talk about the political affiliations of anything or any of that. I'm here to help people that want to serve, that don't know if they don't know how and what complications or what things they need to go through to get there. Um, being an active member of the military, it's not my role to uh, identify any issues politically or identify political issues within the organization. So I'll have to defer that point to some another channel. I'm just here to tell my story. Hopefully, encourage people that are thinking about it. Yeah, but I mean, the military is more willing to work with people that want to serve. They do have the pre-enlistment kind of like training program for those who are out of standards to be able to work out to get in within the standards and eventually join. Honestly, it's all down to the individual soldier or individual person that has this determination to serve. It would have been really easy for me to not join because I had so many hurdles in front of me. Like basically around every single corner, they said, "No, you're not going to serve. No, you're not going to serve." But um, like I'm a big pop culture guy, and if you ever seen Captain America, and like they keep telling him no and no and no and no, and that kind of pushed him harder and harder. Uh, so that was like the case for me. Is like all these organizations kept telling me no, and it lit a fire under me, and I kept working harder and harder. Um, so that when I finally was able to join, um, I was able to. It meant a lot more to me than it would have meant before that. How do you have student loan debt? Why you have it? So I joined after I got my degree. So they give you for people that are joining before they go to college. They do give you the Montgomery GI Bill. They give you tuition assistance. They do give you money for that. Um, There's not as much for those who already have degrees. I mean, most people go officer. I have a college degree, but didn't go officer route. I kind of joined kind of late and kind of phased out. Um, but I did sign for a student loan repayment, which in retrospect, I probably wouldn't have done that again. Unfortunately, they weren't very transparent with the fact that I signed a $30,000 student loan repayment and they still tax you at the normal rate. So my $30,000 turned into about $16,000, which when you owe about $65,000, $70,000, $16,000 um, doesn't really negate your student loan debt. So um, I mean, now I'm in E5, so I'm making a little more money than I was before. And having a pretty good civilian job, my military income isn't really my main source of income. So any extra money I have, I invest and then I use the money that I make from my investments to um, pay down my student loans and hopefully eventually not have them so that my son has them. Uh, Also, being older in life, like my right now, my goal is to finish out to have enough time to be able to pass on my GI Bill, the post 9/11 GI Bill, to my son. That way, he won't have to worry about the student loan debt. So, um, sometimes serving is for yourself. Sometimes serving is for your kids. It just depends on where you are in life and what matters to you. I probably didn't think I was going to be re-enlisting once I was back in college. I always had that desire and urge to serve, and I guess it was just right place, right time when I was finally able to go in. Hello, Kievash. Do you have a question about joining the military, or are you thinking about joining? Or are you just curious? Honestly, if you guys are watching and you have any questions, I mean, there is no dumb questions. I mean, I'm willing to answer anything. That's why I'm here. Is my goal is to be able to help you guys. Um, my channel is basically uh, sharing my wisdom, both as a father and as a member of the military. My goal is to help educate those so you don't go in blindly and that you set yourself up for success. Um, I would say for those of you who want to serve, make sure that you're doing your research about what jobs you want. I wouldn't necessarily go for the jobs that have big bonuses because if a job has a big bonus, it probably means that those are the needs of the army, and the only way to incentivize people to actually take those jobs is by throwing money at them. So, um, I would say don't consider 100% the money, even though it's like something that does seem appealing. I think that having job satisfaction and doing what you actually like doing and having that um, is worth more than whatever bonus you get because honestly, that bonus money is probably going to go away pretty quickly. Do you have TSP? I do have TSP. They match up to 5%, and I do the traditional. So they take out the money pre-tax, so it brings down my gross income. Hey Sarah, in 2024, smoked weed 2 different times and had a panic attack. I went to the hospital. I was not prescribed any medicine, and I didn't have to take medicine at the hospital. Sent me home. Um, so this is the part that's kind of like tricky. Is should you tell them that you went through these things? Yes. Um, so my advice again, this isn't. I'm not endorsing this, but this is my own personal experience, and from those who have gone through it, is say as little as possible. Obviously, if you have scars on your body from surgeries, like if you have scars on your knees, scars on your arms, scars on your hands, if you have anything that's visible, it's good to have documentation for. It's good to have documentation for those surgeries that you're good to go from a doctor. But stuff like that, if you don't have to divulge it, I probably wouldn't, because what happens is once you divulge something, you check yes on the application, that immediately sets off a need for a waiver. And if you do by chance are able to get to MEPS, as soon as you get there, um, they're honestly, the goal at MEPS is for doctors to disqualify you from service. So if you don't have to divulge things, don't do it. Again, that's not me endorsing that, because you're supposed to be 100% truthful, but um, be smart about it. If there isn't documentation that shows that you have that, I wouldn't do it. So you're so my best advice to any of you is this is a piece of advice that my drill sergeant told me. All you have to do is shut the F up. Like, in doubt, just say nothing. Like, anytime you open your mouth, you open up the ability for Pandora's box to open. And a lot of times, if you open that box, you can't put stuff back in. So, unless you have to say it, don't. Can you buy NVIDIA stock with TSP or only mutual funds? I honestly don't know how it does, how they invest it. I'm guessing it's a portfolio of stocks, bonds, all kinds of stuff. I'm sure there's a way to go in there and pick individual stocks. Is disability fraud rampant in the veteran community? Well, I mean, I'm currently serving still, so I don't know, but there are people that have disabilities, and there's a process to go to get disabilities. It's not something that's just given out like candy. So usually, if somebody has it, then there's a reason why. Um, you can be mad about it, but there was somebody that did review it that determined that they were in need of that disability. Can you wait? You're welcome. No problem. If you have any other questions, if they ask you straight up if you smoked weed, should I lie? Uh, I would tell your recruiter and let your recruiter determine when and if you're able to go to MEPS. But I wouldn't share that information at MEPS. Honestly, your best bet is to take drug tests outside of the military, and once you're clean and it's out of your system, then go. Because if you go and you say you've never smoked weed and then you pee hot, you're not allowed to serve anymore. So you'll be disqualified for life. Um, and if you're in the military and you smoke and you piss hot, you will be discharged and you'll be charged with a drug crime. So don't do it. Do recruiters get paid on commission? I'm not sure. I'm sure they have their quotas and goals, but usually the military doesn't have like commission based. Like obviously, there's like um, recruiting bonuses or retention bonuses, but I don't think that they get paid based on what soldiers they are, but it probably does help their ability to get promoted. Yeah. So for the marijuana question, they're going to ask you what drugs, if you they are. Um, but again, like if you don't have scars, don't share it. But again, I'm not endorsing that. But if it was me, I wouldn't tell them. Anybody else have questions? So I'm curious, what's making you want to enlist? Is it the money? Is it purpose? Is it you just don't know what you're doing right now, so you need something, so you want to join? Because I think based on like what you're looking for, will kind of determine what you get out of it. So feel free to ask away. Just so you guys know, I'm an Army reservist. I have a civilian career. I'm also a single dad. So if any of you have kids and you're curious of what that arrangement's like, especially being a single parent, in E5, I'm a sergeant, and I've been in the Army for 9 years. I joined when I was 31 years old, and I joined when I was 18 years old. So when I first joined, I had BDUs, and now I have the newer uniform. Um, I have served under multiple administrations. I'm a paralegal, so I chose my job based on being a reservist and having a family. I wanted something I could translate into the civilian world. So if you're an older person, kind of make sure you take your time looking for what jobs you want and what jobs you could that will translate into careers outside the military. Um, Obviously, if your goal is to do 20 years, that would be an awesome goal. But it's also nice to be able to have skills that you learn in the military that can translate. So I got my AIT as a paralegal. Came out. I became a civilian paralegal, and then I progressed in my career. Eventually moved out of that and kind of used my college degree for my civilian career. But my intro into where I got into was my paralegal and that legal experience that I got from the Army. So feel free to ask any questions down below, guys. If you have kids, if you're older, if you're younger, um, if you want to know what basic training is like, if you want to know what AIT is like, if you want to know what reserve weekends are like, just feel free to ask anything. My goal is to help you guys and give you the best advice moving forward and allow you to make the best decisions for yourself. What's your goal with my civilian career? Honestly, I'm in a career I enjoy a lot, and I think job satisfaction is extremely important. I'm 40 years old now, and I'm in a place where I'm happy, and my goal is to continue on and do this until I'm able to retire, and then enjoy retirement. Hopefully, have some grandkids, and be able to enjoy life as much as I can. Right now, I'm at 9 years. I signed a 4-year re-enlistment back in October, and that was to help my son. And I don't know if I'm going to serve beyond this. We'll see. It is kind of hard emotionally leaving for those weekends and not having that time with him. So we'll see how far I go. I mean, the thought of having TRICARE for life and getting at least some kind of retirement payment is alluring, but um, serving even part time does have is quite taxing on you and yourself emotionally and physically. So, um, any other questions from anybody? I see there's still a few people in the chat or a few people on the stream. There is no dumb questions, so I want to be transparent with you guys. So even if you have a dumb question, will you get a pension in addition to Social Security? If you serve 20 years, it's based on a point system. So based on how many active duty days you have, how many years you did, I think it's a certain percentage. But I'm not I'm not honestly sure what the amount is for reservist. I know if I was active duty, I believe if you hit 20 years, you get 50% of your highest three grossing years, and then anything after that is like based on additional time. So I mean, some people do 30 years and they get 75% of their pension. But yeah, your Social Security is guaranteed to you if you paid into the system, which I think is three of your highest grossing years, kind of like your pension would be. So how old are you? Are you younger? Are you older? Like what stage of life are you in right now that you're asking all these questions? I'm just curious. And the reason why I asked that just because like kind of like your goals change a little bit. When I was you're 48, you might be able to get a waiver. I mean, the system's pretty bleak right now. Um, so yeah, I mean, you get to a certain point where money is not the most important part of it. I think what's important is job satisfaction. And again, like I was making good money on the civilian side prior to enlisting, but um, didn't feel like what I was doing really made a difference in the world. I mean, the mortgage rates are pretty good, but unfortunately, the housing market sucks right now. So, um, I know right now in my area, like the cost of houses have gone up like 400% in the last 6 years, and I refuse to pay $400,000 for $150,000 house. So, I rent my apartment. Um, so it is an awesome benefit, but the cost of living and houses has gone up so much that it's nearly impossible to get a house. And right now, people are selling their houses and taking the offers that are foregoing the inspections. So hopefully, eventually, I can use my VA loan. Just right now, this is not in the cards. But luckily, rent keeps going up, so that's awesome too. So it used to be that like it cost less to buy a house than it cost to rent, and now it's not that way. So I see I have some people watching. You guys can say hi if you want. Like I said, there's no dumb questions. My goal is to help you guys. So if you have questions, you can put them in the chat, and we can discuss it. If you're older, if you're younger, again, I've done both of them. So I've gone through basic training as an 18-year-old kid, and I've gone through basic training as a 31-year-old man. So I've done both of them. I've experienced both. Hello, Simon. Are you thinking about joining the military? It's funny in Northeast, the houses are 100 years old, but they cost $500,000, even closer to $1 million in big cities. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's all just based on what you want. It's all, I guess, price of what's it called, supply and demand. They stopped building houses a while ago, and then people are buying all the old stuff. You're a kid. How old are you? Are you old enough to be thinking about the military? Or are you like a little kid? It's funny. I keep having like kids that are like young, like are like 10, 11 years old that end up in my stream, which I'm curious of what would bring it to my stream when it's literally says questions and answers about joining the military. Are you thinking about serving in your future? Because honestly, I started thinking about joining when I was in ninth grade or eighth, ninth grade. I wanted to join the Air Force because I thought they had cool uniforms and I liked the clean look. And I don't know if they still have recruiters in school, but like they used to bring recruiters to school, and I'd always get like free bumper stickers and stuff like that. So, well, I mean, when you have kids, I like your country army is a terrorist, so probably not. What country are you from? Well, here, like the houses in the suburbs are like $400,000. It's crazy. My cousin just built his house a couple years ago. I highly doubt you're in Iran if you're online because I think they have a country block. So I think you're just trolling. So I'm gonna ignore your comments moving forward. Um, yeah, I mean houses are expensive. I wish they would start building houses and allowing people to join or let people buy houses that haven't. Because honestly, like right now, the only people that can buy houses are those who are selling houses. Yeah, he's just. Well, I highly doubt if you were in Iran, you'd be able to have a stream that would connect you to an American. Um, well, I appreciate you logging in, Simon, but I don't think this is the right stream for you. So, does anybody else have questions? Anybody else thinking actually about joining? Anybody got questions about what it's like, what the process of joining is like, taking the ASVAB, going to MEPS, going to basic training, how to prepare yourself for any of these things? Um, I'm here to answer questions. So if you're in the chat and you're thinking about joining, can you give a thumbs up? And then I can at least talk about some things that might be beneficial to you guys. Or you don't even have to say like what you're doing. Just if you want to put like ASVAB or MEPS or basic training or AIT or benefits. I'm not a recruiter, so I don't know all the rules and regulations. To I just know from my own personal experience what I went through. What do I need to join the Marines? By the way, how old are you? I mean, I almost joined the Marine Corps. I guess. Well, first and foremost, you need 17. You're old enough to join. Are you in good health? Let me look up the Marine Corps standards real quick, so I can at least answer those basic questions. Um, Some of the other getting ready for the process is a lot the same. You know, maps is still the same. Still in ROTC, no allergy or health conditions. Well, that's good. Because usually that's the thing that like disqualifies people. So your ROTC, do you mean JROTC? Not ROTC, because ROTC is Reserve Officer Training. JROTC is high school. You don't really pay. Why do you want to join the Marine Corps? Like, what's the? Do you have family that served in the Marines? So it says to enlist as a Marine, you must have a high school diploma or GED. You must be a U.S. citizen or a legal resident, be between the ages of 17 and 28. pass a criminal background check, and have no felony convictions. Yeah, I mean, probably one of the best to if you want to join the Marine Corps and you have all that information, or you know the allergies and stuff like that. My father's in the Marines. He taught me a lot. Seems like something I really want to do. Yeah, I mean, the one thing about the Marine Corps, it's definitely a mindset. I have friends that are Marines. I have friends that were Marines that joined the Army. The one thing about the Marine Corps is, especially if you don't necessarily have a job when you join. Like most Marines, being Marine is like the title. That's what the most important part is. Um, the other branches are a little different. Like Army, you get your specific job you want in your contract. Where I think the um, Marine Corps is based on the needs of the Marines. So like you test on your ASVAB and then you get a certain score. And then when you get in basic training, you might have like a field you're in, like whether it's like mechanics or medical. And then when you get through, then they decide which job is needed, and then you go that route. But I have a lot of friends that were in. They enjoyed their time, but they wanted different things, and they joined. So, I mean, if you're thinking about joining the Marine Corps, I would say initial training is going to be difficult. I can't imagine going through their training. You know, they're very hard on their people, and it's nonstop, and it's the entire 13 weeks that you go. Army's a little different. I mean, when I joined, it was like a couple weeks they were really intense, and then they started going being more of like the mentor phase. And they still yell at you and they still discipline you because they wanted you to like understand that like there's a reason why you're doing things and you need to be maintain your discipline. And I think once you start to stray away from that, then uh your discipline kind of disappear a little bit. um Honestly, do you have good grades in school? Because honestly and truthfully, if I had to do it all over again, I would have either done all A's. I mean, I don't. I know in the army we used to have the green and gold program where you could be enlisted and then you could work your way towards being an officer. Um, if I could do it all over again, I would have gone the officer route. I'd have either gone to one of the service academies like West Point. I would have done JROTC. Do you want to go to college or do you just want to go active duty military? Active duty. I think that's a good choice. Like I said, Marine Corps is definitely a special animal. I admire their dedication. We need them. There's some awesome individuals that serve in the Marine Corps. Um, I love having fun with them. Serving in the military is kind of like a fraternity. Like everybody gets along. We all busted on each other's branches. Um, we make fun of each other. Usually, it's the people that get offended are the ones that aren't in the military, and they get offended for their family members or whoever. Might try to do college while I'm in. I know my dad did it. Um, well, I know like you can take I mean the beautiful thing about like modern day is that like you can take online university. So in theory, like if you're in, I mean, depending on the job you have, there are normal jobs. Like for me, I'm a paralegal. So um let me connect it. Okay. So like I'm a paralegal and my job is like a 9 to 5. So like when I'm on active duty orders, my day starts at 7 o'clock in the morning or sometimes earlier for PT. We get breakfast and a hygiene, and then we show up for work at like 9 o'clock, and then we work till like 3 or 4 o'clock, and then you have the rest of the day to yourself. You have weekends off. When you're on certain jobs, obviously, if you're in combat roles, you go in the field a lot, and so you forego those weekends. But If you're in and you want to take classes online, that's still a possibility. Then if you want to get out, you can continue on. You can switch. You can switch branches. You can do whatever you want. Honestly, I think going in the military after high school is a great thing. I think honestly, because I joined originally when I was 18 years old, and I think the hardest thing was getting used to the culture shock of it. Like, uh, I played high school football and I enjoyed being a kid and partying with my friends. And then I enlisted and like everything seemed awesome. And then like, I got on the airplane, got to the airport, and as soon as I saw those Mountie hats, like I think everybody's gut reaction the first time is, did I make a mistake? Um, and like you're terrified because nobody knows what they're doing. You get yelled at. You have to do physical activity. You can't move when you want. You can't talk when you want. Um, but you learn to get used to it, and um, you're able to work through, and you're able to motivate yourself and push yourself beyond the limitations you think you have. Because like the one thing I've always learned is that like that they always told us is that your mind will give up before your body does. Because you can go through something hard and you can you can tell yourself you're going to quit, but like when you're in circumstances like in the military, like when you want to quit, there's people around you that are pushing, and seeing them push themselves motivates you to keep pushing. And obviously if you don't push yourself, then you'll have a DI, a drill instructor, or a drill sergeant screaming in your face and making you do it. So um, those are severely motivating factors. Honestly, you're young, so you have so many different opportunities. So just make sure you get a career field that you want. I'm guessing you're a female. I don't know if females are allowed to be in the infantry and Marine Corps. They might be, but my dad would bring me on long runs. Every time I tried to stop, he'd tell me to keep going. I'd get punished if I didn't continue. How would he punish you? Would he take away your allowance, or would he make you walk home? I always tell people too. I'm like, when you join, like you don't necessarily need to be at a certain fitness level. Like you don't need to have like certain metrics. Like you don't need to be able to do like 100 push-ups or 100 sit-ups. Basically, if you can just get yourself in reasonable shape, like you have the ability to run, you have the ability to do some push-ups, maybe planks, maybe do some makes you run longer. Um, so yeah, if you can go in just with like a general sense of like being in shape, the ability to run long distances, that's keeping your stamina is probably the most important part. Because a lot of things that they do is they try to tire you out. So if you can have a little bit of stamina, it's going to help you get through those situations a little better. Um, how long of runs is your dad active duty or is he reserve? And would he allow you to join other branches, or is it Marine Corps or nothing? Because I know in a lot of Marine families, it's like you need to be a Marine or nothing else. Sorry, guys, dogs bark. Hey, stop. So, anybody else have any questions? Rocky, stop, 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 stop it. Well, you're graduating pretty soon, so are you a junior or a senior? He's not really join for us. We just want to follow what we do. They don't try to stop us. That's good. I'm glad he's giving you the opportunity. Uh, so you're a junior. So I was gonna say, I was like, if you were a graduating senior, I would think you'd be enlisted already. But I know they do have programs where you can do basic training during your in between your junior and senior years. But enjoy being a kid for another summer. I know some people that did that and then they didn't get to enjoy their junior or senior year. Um, but I guess if you want the title, go Marine Corps. Most other people say if you can join the Air Force. Um, I mean, I think they have a pretty easy and they have a pretty nice life. I know I was just recently down at F. McGuire Dix Lakehurst, and the Fort Dix side is like run down, and the McGuire Air Force Base side is like a nice place. They have better defects. If they stay in our barracks, they get extra pay for living in substandard housing. So uh, it's pretty interesting, pretty funny. Does anybody else have any questions? I've got about 9 minutes left in the stream, and want to be able to answer any questions you might have about joining, whether it's later in life or early in life. I mean, I joined when I was in high school. I was a high school senior when I enlisted. So um, back when I joined, it was so it's 2004, and we invaded Iraq in 2003. So and then 9/11 happened when I was a sophomore. So 9/11 was like the big motivator for a lot of us to join. Um, I'm just curious of what the motivating factor this time around is for people. So if you guys aren't subscribed, if I do have lots of military videos about getting ready. If you guys have any advice for kind of videos you want to see, if you want me to go more in depth about things, um, my videos have been kind of vague to this point because obviously my following isn't super huge. Like my biggest video right now is my joining in the 30s. I kind of want to start doing the live stream thing because it's nice actually talking to people and being able to talk to you right away. You've been working in cyber defense since you were since you were 6. That's pretty wild. Yeah, I mean, if you can get in cybersecurity, that's a pretty good job. And I know that in the army they have direct commissions for people that have cyber degrees and stuff like that. So um, I would, if I was your age, I would do the enlisted because honestly, like I would eventually I would go officer if I could, um, and but the reason why I think it's good to go enlisted is because you know what a enlisted member goes through, and it would make you a better officer. So, so if you guys want, you can subscribe to my channel. Um, I have a lot of military videos. I have my daily dad jokes. I upload those every single day. So if you like laughing, uh, give me a subscribe and you'll see my videos every day. I'm going to be doing live streams weekly now, talking more, connecting with you guys, and being able to answer questions in real time. Honestly, it's good to be able to practice in front of the camera, getting used to being uncomfortable. So, yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions. We're wrapping up in a few minutes, but it's always a pleasure being able to talk and kind of give you guys advice and be able to answer questions you have. Something I found really interesting. We'd never ever gotten National Honor for Cyber Patriots. Take it, I have air subscribe, by the way. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I'd take care of my baby sister next year. That's crazy. my best advice too is that like you're still a kid and you're still your own person. I mean, parents have their responsibilities, so if I was to give advice, it would say don't hold up your future. I mean, obviously do what you can to help, but like you need to be able to have a career yourself. And sometimes what happens is kids take on too much responsibility and they forget to take care of themselves, and then they don't get to do the things that they want. Or and being older, like the one thing you don't want to do is look back with regret for things that you do or don't do. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I re-enlisted when I was 31, is that I had regret from the first time I enlisted and I didn't get fulfillment from it. So just make sure you're thinking about your future. Hopefully, your parents want what's best for you, and wouldn't expect you to be a parent to your sister. But if you're willing to take on that responsibility, that's pretty awesome of you. And but just take the time to really think about things and make sure you're setting yourself up for success as well, because your life, your career, and your happiness matter too. So um, it sounds like what you're doing is a great thing, but if your family and your parents have good careers, good goals, um, play varsity soccer, so you really enjoy what I do. Yeah, I mean, I just mean from like a standpoint of like once you finish high school, and then just making sure you're setting yourself up for success in life. I mean, the nice thing is that if you join the military, it kind of takes you away and you don't really have an option. So, um, and that's your choice. But yeah, I wish you luck, and enjoy your summer between your junior and senior year. Uh, enjoy senior year as much as you can, and make sure you set yourself up for success. And um, I will definitely pray for you, and I'll pray that God kind of guides you exactly where you're hoping to get, and that all the answers will come clear to you, and you'll be able to have a clear mind and be happy with whatever decisions that you decide to make. Because again, your future and your happiness matter long term as well. So um, yeah. Anybody else have anything they want to chime in about? Again, my goal is to help any of you, and if I need to stand a little longer to be able to answer any questions, I have no problem doing that. So um, let me know if you have questions. So I got an email from the Marine Corps about an invitation to OCS for 10 weeks. I did state that it's not a recruitment. I'm focused about what they want from me. Do you know what they want from me? Do you have a college degree? Well, that's reason number one, is that you need to have a degree to be an officer. Are you thinking about doing it? I mean, are you thinking about the military in general, or the Marine Corps, or are you just you had questions, so you came on here to ask kind of like what it's like? So OCS is Officer Candidate School. It's basically like a pre-selection. If you have a college degree, you can become an officer. It's basically kind of like basic training, but a little different. As an officer, you're a leader of soldiers. Um, basically, you learn how to lead. It's definitely a little different than the enlisted way to go. Um, if I could do it all over again, I would be an officer. I'm still thinking about maybe possibly putting in a waiver to get a commission. Um, do you have leadership? Do you have leadership experience? Do you want to lead people? I would say if it's something you want to do, so if you want to join, I'll email them back, and I have to go through ASVAB, right? I think you have to take the ASVAB too. Let me look real quick. I think you do because I remember when I was doing the OCS route because I did apply for Army OCS. I did pass the first board, and then I got my packet didn't get approved. So um, I think I needed a 110 GT score. Um, yeah, I think a 110 GT score is what you need on your ASVAB. So if it's something you're thinking about doing, I'd say the one positive thing is that there are a lot of videos online that kind of go through it, and there's there's ones that will show you about OCS. There's also people that have gone through OCS that kind of have the same kind of experience that I do, and they share their stories. Um, but I mean, if you want to be an officer and you want to serve in the military, just remember that there's four other branches you can serve into. So I mean, if you want to be an Army officer, if you want to be a naval officer, if you want to be an Air Force officer, Coast Guard officer, um, so does the Marine Corps is that did, was that just the first letter that got to you, or is there would that be the branch you would join if you were to enlist? Yeah, I think you'd still have to go through. You'd take your ASVAB. You'd have to go through MEPS, which is a military entrance processing station. You have to do a physical. You'd have to make sure you're fit for duty, um, and go through that process. Um, a little experience in leadership. I had a letter from them, and I would join to try out OCS. So the biggest thing is if you're thinking about joining, just put in perspective that it's going to be life changing, and that's like the biggest thing I'd like to tell people is that like it's definitely a culture shock, and uh, it's going to test your your mental bounds, uh, um, because you get there and you're used to a certain way of living, and you get to or you get to officer candidate school, and they're going to immediately try to break those bad habits from you. They're going to push you in ways that you've never been pushed before, and it's going to be hard. It's going to suck a lot, and you're going to regret every moment of it. But uh, the fastest way to get through it. But I think if you're an officer, if I'm not mistaken, OCS, you can resign your commission, and there's people that have done that. But I think it's the one difference between OCS and going the regular enlisted route is that you can resign your commission. Um, so yeah, just do some soul searching. Think about it. Try to talk to as many people as you can. Um, kind of seek out other. If, one of the great tools. I mean, now we're in like the common age is LinkedIn's a great resource. So I think you need a 110 GT score on your ASVAB. So there's different sections of the ASVAB. There's technical, there's like math, there's science. There's different levels that kind of like it's kind of like a personality test in certain regards, and like it tests certain skills and strengths that you have. And then when you finish, it gives you like a different scores for different categories. And based on what you score in different categories, that's the job that you can have. So like I'm not 100% sure about the Marine Corps, but in the Army, we have different branches of officers. So, like in the reserves, I think you can pick your job school before you go, and I think if you're active duty, they pick basically the needs. So they'll go through their OCS and they'll get their test scores, and based on what they test, like if you're higher in your class, you get the branches that you like more. So like an example for a branch would be like military police. So there's military officers. There's again, this is for the Army, so I don't know what the direct correlation is for the Marine Corps, but there's like there's military police officers. There's engineers. There's intelligence, transportation, infantry, artillery, chemical, just all different stuff. That was between 275 and 300. No, I think the ASVAB is a 0 to 100 score. Like I got a 75 on my ASVAB, and that was pretty good. I think the minimum score to join is like 11, but that's for enlisted. Like if you get 11 on your ASVAB, you're not going to OCS. So you need higher scores to get OCS. Again, I don't know the direct correlation or the direct um, equivalent is for Army and Marine Corps. Um, I know that like you need to pass your PT test, and you have tests um, throughout OCS. So like there's a land nav portion, there's a medical portion. So yeah, I'm at about an hour now, so I'm gonna log off. So I do have a bunch of military videos. I do have my OCS video. If you have questions about OCS, um, put that in that. If you go on my page or my channel, I do have an OCS video about not making it. If you want to put those questions in, I'll do a little research and kind of help you out if I can. My goal is to help you as much as I can. Uh, I love serving in the military, and if I can help you get to where you want to be and I can answer any questions, at least point you in the right direction of where answers might be. I'd love to be able to help you. So um, I'm gonna cut it there, but hey, I appreciate you guys jumping in. It's always a pleasure being able to talk and be able to share my stories, and to be able to answer any questions you guys have. Uh, Please consider subscribing to my channel. I do have a bunch of military videos. I have life videos. I have my daily dad jokes. So if you like laughing, if you like having a little bit of wisdom, uh, a little bit of everything, subscribe to my channel. I'll be having another live stream next Tuesday for military related. So um, come back next week. I'll put up a link for that. But I appreciate you guys watching. May God bless you guys, and hopefully may all your career goals come true. So I hope you guys have a good night. God bless you.